2008. It was the year that China hosted the Summer Olympic Games. Comedic great George Carlin died.
I know what I'm talking about.
And history was made when the United States elected their first black president.
As for us, we were exploring the world. In August, we were in the Balkans, specifically in Macedonia. In fact, we were on a pilgrimage up to the Holy Mother of God. Seriously, we climbed up a mountain to a monastery called the Holy Mother of God. We were starting to question things, and we were thinking outside of everything we'd ever been taught, and we needed some peace and quiet to process those thoughts. The adventures up, on and down the mountain laid the foundations for the people we grew to become today. And it's a pretty cool story too.
Treskovec Monastery was founded on top of an antique fortress in the 13th century. Because of its unique beauty, the monastery attracts many tourists and mountaineers, which hike the 8-kilometre trail from the closest town, Prilep. The hike up the mountain took about 2.5 hours, and that included stopping to take some great photos. It was an extremely hot European summer. It was very steep, we got a little lost, and we didn't have any snacks with us, which made getting to the top very rewarding.
When we got to the top, we found the beautiful monastery, a monk, a couple of other tourists, some cats, and a Saint Bernard. It was the non-stop loud barking of this Saint Bernard, combined with the noise of brush cutters, that shattered our hopes of finding the peace and quiet we came for. And we realised that the cliche was true. Real peace comes from within.
2 significant things happened on that mountain. Number 1, it was our first real taste of simplicity. The accommodation was very simple, and although it looks clean and fine in this photo, the simplicity of it actually scared us. Seriously, that's how sheltered we were back then. As for the food, well, we didn't know we were supposed to bring our own food with us. So, along with another travelling couple from Denmark, we had to find whatever food we could in the kitchen and throw together a meal. We found some bread, tomatoes, one of the Danes had a can of beans in his backpack, and we also found some eggs and cheese. Of course, back then, we were not vegan. In that moment, the meal was significant not because of what we were eating, but because of the act of sharing the limited food we had amongst strangers, and because of the ad hoc throw together simplicity of the meal. Being so exhausted and hungry from the hike, breaking bread with total strangers felt like the absolute best thing in the world in that moment. And this sounds like a complete overreaction now, but back then we didn't have any relativity, and this was a totally foreign situation to us. We'd never shared a meal in these circumstances before, and we were starting to step out of our very sheltered bubble, and it felt really, really good. After dinner, we went to bed wrapped up in our warm sleeping bags and wrote about the experience in our journals. The simplicity of our surroundings and experience made something inside of us very, very happy. It was the first time we felt so fulfilled with so little. It was our first taste of simple living and minimalism. We'll never forget the huge smiles on our faces and the contentment we felt that night.
The second significant thing that happened on that mountain was that I lost my necklace. I know, it sounds a bit weird, but let me explain. One of the main purposes of our travels that year was to grow and heal. And for me, I needed to find my voice.
Okay, this way!
I had learned that one of the chakras, or energy wheels, is positioned in the throat, and the colour it resonates with is blue. So our yoga teacher at a retreat we attended in Italy suggested I find a necklace with a blue stone and wear it to help me unblock my throat chakra and find my voice. I found the perfect necklace at a market on the Greek island of Mykonos. I bought it from an Argentinian guy named Javier. His eyes were a piercing blue colour, and he looked like Jesus. Seriously. His wife was sitting by their van, breastfeeding their baby. They were like a hippie, gypsy, artisan family that travelled around selling their work. I told my story to Javier about needing to find my voice, and he selected my new necklace. I wore that necklace every day and continued journaling and working on my inner game. And then I lost it. A few hours after we arrived at the monastery, I realised it wasn't around my neck. To be honest, I panicked. I loved that stone. It held so much meaning and it told a story. We tried to retrace our steps and work out exactly where and when I lost it. I was wearing it in this photo taken close to the top of the mountain, but it wasn't around my neck in this photo when we arrived. It must have fallen off at some point towards the top of the mountain. And so the next day our search began, and our new Danish friends Marie and Rasmus decided to help. The four of us retraced our steps down the mountain and were searching high and low. We were literally looking under rocks. After searching quite frantically for several hours, a priest came along the path above us on his way up to the monastery. He looked down and yelled out, "My friends, what are you doing?" I told him I had lost a very important necklace. I told him the significance of it, and his response was a turning point in my life. He said, "It is your offering to the mountain. You no longer need it. Someone else who needs it more than you will find it, and it will help them the way it helped you." And with that, I was at peace, and the search was over. I had learned the lesson of detachment. Yes, I had found my voice. Admittedly, it was a little croaky, but it was there. And if I hadn't have found my voice and been able to speak up for myself at that time in my life, I wouldn't be able to speak up for others and be a voice for the animals today. The end.
Get up.